And we're back here on Live and Wellness. Want to take a moment, as we do every day, to tell you that, we don't officially endorse any of the methods or practices that we will show throughout our broadcast. If you should choose alternative treatments, we hope you'll use common sense. If you have a critical, recurring medical problem, be sure to consult your doctor first. And our phone lines, as you know, are open. Once again, it's 1-800-988-TALK, 1-800-988-8255. I know we have some questions already waiting for Dr. Charles Simone, who's author of the book Cancer and Nutrition, and we're discussing his recently completed trip to Ecuador, up near Peru and in that area, specifically around the Amazon River, to find natural cures for cancer. Cures is such a strong word. We're looking at least...
Well, we're looking for treatments, more effective treatments.
Yes.
And that's what I'm in search of. The treatments they have down there are fairly effective for what they do. I've not seen any of the follow-up patients that they have, and that's my next trip. When I went down there, it was an announcement made that I was coming, and the Vice Minister of Health met me, and he's very interested in this whole project and wants to help me with it in Ecuador.
Oh, that's good. So you'll be going back. Now, there was, this past weekend, in fact, there was a story on the AP Wire about, I think it's called a chemical called Taxol.
Taxol is from a plant, the bark of a tree in the northwest part of our country called the yew tree. Taxol now has been around for about 4 or 5 years. Made the media frenzy a couple years ago. Taxol has been relatively effective in ovarian cancer and some breast disease, but effective by a tune of about 17% of the time. So, yes, the media takes many of these important findings, and then we hear the tremendous effectiveness of a particular problem or a particular treatment, but in reality it doesn't boil down.
It's a little early to be that optimistic, do you think?
Well, no, we already know what Taxol will do for us. Taxol is a fairly effective drug for some people.
For some people, so you couch it in that. Yeah. Well, now let's talk a little more about some of the other remedies we mentioned that you were able to find. What do you have in your hand?
This is a liquid called Drago. This is the Latin generic form of it. It's called Drago, from a plant. They use it to treat stomach ulcers. It is from the sap.
Just want to smell.
Yeah.
I want to see if there's a scent to it.
There is.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah. What is it?
They use it to treat stomach ulcers, and they also use it to treat stomach cancer.
So you say you drink it?
They drink it. They drink it.
And what's the effectiveness?
Well, we don't know that. I don't know that scientifically, and that's what I want to try to find out, what they do and how they count and measure. The problem for instance, even in the countries of Latin America, is that the science, the medical science, is not that good. They don't have a lot of money to have doing CT scans or radiation therapy, that kind of thing. Many of those patients have to travel to Miami or another city in the States for quality treatment.
I see. You mentioned the monkey chair. Now, that's fascinating to look at, that we saw in the video.
Well, that was a very large fungus, as you saw, growing on a dead tree, and they call it a chair because it's large enough for a monkey to sit on. Obviously, you saw how big it was.
Seeing you there with it,
And what they do with it is simply cut it up, extract it, put it in some boiling water, and then patients drink it.
Cut up the whole the base there. Is that what you're saying?
They cut that up. They cut it right off the tree. It's a large base, as you can see, and they grow all over the place. They cut it up, boil it, and drink the extract from it.
Drink the extract. And for which kinds of cancers again?
They use it for all cancers.
I see.
And they also use it for cancer prevention, whatever that means. I don't know exactly what that means. But there are some of the things we've talked about with the shaman there.
Now, the shaman, it's so interesting, their role, they are...
Well, they're the kings there. They really control and modify lots of people's behavior and lives there. They really are in charge of their health and well-being. And not only that, they also guide them spiritually as well.
So they have the mind-body connection works.
They've had it.
Beehive wax. Now, you mentioned that.
Yeah, beehive, there's a certain kind of bee there that do not have stingers, so they can't sting you. A certain bee that's only in that area of the world. They produce a wax that has antibiotic-like properties. So whenever they get cut through the jungle, running cut lacerations on their body, they simply get some of that wax, put it on their skin, put it on the skin, there it is, and they simply heal up very quickly. Those bees generally have the hive, like it is shown there, high on a tree. It's not low on the ground, anywhere near the ground. It's very high. You know, that's about 40, 50 feet high from the ground.
Climb up, get it out, and take the whole hive.
Yeah, or parts of it, because they don't want to destroy it. They know there's some goodness from the bees. So
What kind of tree was that? I was curious.
I don't know.
Don't know. Okay. Sorry, didn't mean to put you on the spot. Yeah. Let's get a call. Fernando is calling from Florida. Let's see what he'd like to ask of Dr. Simone. Fernando?
Hi, Carol. Hi,
How
Dr.
are you?
Simone. How you doing?
Good
Hello,
morning.
how are you?
I've been reading a lot of information coming from the Amazon about this herb called cat's claw or gata de mano.
Yeah.
Has he done any research on that, or has he heard anything like that?
Yeah, I've heard about that particular herb. The problem is with many of these things that a lot of anecdotal evidence, we don't have any hard scientific evidence yet, and that's one of the purposes for my travel down there, to go back, find out what exactly we have to collect as far as data, and then proceed on to analyze it.
It's a good question. I think what it is we're all so hopeful for any
Yes.
kind of... I'm wondering what, if any, of the discoveries were most encouraging to you.
Well, I think there's been some scientific work on Drago. I think that would be the first thing I'd want to pursue in a manner that would be rigorously looked at scientifically. In other words, a controlled group of people, maybe 10, 15 people, as I did the study in Cuba with shark cartilage.
Yes.
I would do the same kind of thing. Get a small number of people with advanced cancers. Use the methods that they have to treat patients with, and see what happens.
Have we any idea of what it is?
No, and that can be found out. Again, it requires lots of time and energy, but also money to hire the right scientists to analyze what's in here.
And with so much controversy over which cures are worth examining in terms of money or the FDA going ahead with it, how do they make those distinctions? That must be frustrating for you as a researcher.
Well, it's pretty much the way I did it with shark cartilage. I didn't know whether there was any real value to shark cartilage, although there was a lot in the literature as far as science with regard to animals and test tubes. But no one ever did anything in the human until we did it in Cuba. Once you have a small pilot and you can see some effectiveness, then you can have a rationale basis for proceeding on with a larger trial.
And when you undertake these experiments, how long does it take to figure out if they're valid or not? Is there an average?
There is. You can tell if a treatment is going to be effective in about 2 to 3 months, because that's when the cancer cells cycle. Every 60 or so days they cycle, and that's when they'll live or die.
Oh, really?
So treatment can be evaluated very quickly, not as long and drawn out as most people use chemotherapy with. But you can know if a chemotherapy or any treatment is effective in about 2 to 3 months.
Okay, got it. We've only got a few seconds,
Sure.
but let me just quickly show whatever this is.
Well,
What is this again?
This is what they carry their darts in, for tipped with Ferrari.
Right.
And this again is the blowgun. This is a 2/3 version of what they usually use.
In the two-thirds, usually it's a lot.
Much longer.
Oh my goodness. Okay, well, we'll know for the next trip to the Amazon, I guess. Thanks a lot, Dr. Simone.
my pleasure.
Fascinating work, and perhaps you'll let us know how the research goes.
I will.
Which is great. Dr.
Thank you.
Charles Simone, author of Cancer and Nutrition. We'll be right back in a moment.